Hello everyone, I'm CJ Werleman. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button below and please help keep our show going and growing by supporting me on patreon.com/CJ Werleman. Now let's get into it. What I'm about to tell you must rank as one of the most deeply distressing stories I've covered as a journalist. And I say that as someone who has interviewed Gitmo detainees and witnessed the devastating psychological impact Israeli warplanes inflict upon Palestinian children in Gaza. But this story is something else altogether, and it's one that has been kept completely hidden from view for the past 30 years. That is, until now. That is until a former US government official came forward recently to testify that wealthy Western tourists paid Bosnian Serb army forces for access to shoot Muslims in Sarajevo when the city was under siege during the early 1990s. Wait, let me say that again. Rich Western tourists paid money to hunt and kill Muslims for sport in Bosnia, making this the kind of human safari that you see only in a dystopian Hollywood movie. But the horror that happened in Bosnia was no screenplay. It was real, and these grisly details have been revealed in the soon-to-be-released documentary Sarajevo Safari.
Ja sam iz njegovog iskaza shvatio da se tu radi o jednom safariju na ljude i da su ljudi koji dolaze s tim motivom jedna nova morbidna vrsta snajperista koji plaćaju da ubijaju.
Jaz nisem nikoli slišal cen, koliko je bila cena, samo vem, da je bilo grozno drago.
Most of these so-called hunters came from the United States, Canada, Russia, and Italy, according to the testimony. But they arrived in Sarajevo via Belgrade, which was accessible by commercial passenger airlines at the time. They were then transported to Bosnia by Serbian military helicopters. But while the identities of these murderers remains unknown, the testimony contained within Sarajevo Safari has also been corroborated in earlier accounts of the war. In the book Vedran and the Firefighters, a Bosnian writer quotes a former US Marine who was based in the country during the war. He describes how tourist shooters arrived in Belgrade wearing a combination of civilian and military attire, or dressed like they were going to the Black Forest to hunt bears. But instead of bears or other forms of wildlife, these tourists arrived in Sarajevo to hunt Muslims. And while we don't yet have footage of their utterly perverted crimes, we do have a clip of Russian neo-Nazi writer Edward Limonov being guided by the war criminal Radovan Karadzic in the hills above Sarajevo, where he casually fires a sniper rifle at the civilians in the besieged capital below.
Ali ja ih ne čujem ništa. Halo? Halo? Pa isključi. A je li orao to? Do, sve je to orao. Hvala lijepo orao. Doviđenja. Prijatno.
He could have shot a child, a grandmother or somebody's parent. We will never know. But that coward fired a bullet directly into the line of civilians in the city. So what you just witnessed is exactly what other like-minded wealthy Western tourists paid huge sums of money to do against innocent civilians. Now please don't confuse these revelations for the foreign volunteers who travelled from Russia and Greece to join the ranks of Serb nationalist forces. What we're talking about here is wealthy tourists who paid money to shoot innocent civilians using high-powered sniper rifles while perched safely in the hillsides around Sarajevo. This was a straight-up turkey shoot, but one that played out for years, as Serbian snipers fired their rifles at any Bosniak civilian they could hit.
Snipers corner Sarajevo as dangerous today as it has ever been. People taking a back road to work were open to sniper fire from Serbian positions in the hills.
The siege of Sarajevo is acknowledged as the longest military siege in modern history, having spanned more than 1,400 days and killing 11,500 people, including 1,600 children. Like this 12-year-old boy who was shot in the head by a Serb sniper the moment he stepped outside to speak with his neighbour. Or this 13-year-old girl who was shot while playing outside with her friends. Now, while you and I might be rightly shocked and outraged by this distressing piece of history, it's important to keep in mind that the Muslim genocide in Bosnia has become a major source of inspiration for the international far right today. The terrorists who murdered 51 Muslim worshippers in Christchurch in 2019 wrote the names of Serb nationalist leaders on the weapon he used to carry out the massacre. And 8 years earlier, the terrorist who killed 77 students in Norway dedicated his manifesto to the perpetrators of the Srebrenica genocide. Today, Serb nationalists in Bosnia are weaponizing ethnic hatred once again and threatening separatism and a repeat of the 1995 genocide.
This is Milorad Dodik, the Bosnian Serb leader. In January, he led a parade through Banja Luka, his capital. He's talking about turning these paramilitary police into a Bosnian Serb army. It's part of a series of threats Dodik has made to separate from the rest of Bosnia since he rejected a new law banning genocide denial.
This is why there must be a full reckoning for the horrors that took place in Sarajevo 3 decades ago, which means holding all war criminals to account, including wealthy Western tourists who travelled to Bosnia to shoot Muslims for sport. But to date, not a single one of those human safari hunters has been identified or arrested. Surely somebody knows something or someone. Surely there are investigative journalists who have the backing and resources to track down these murderers and then report them to the proper authorities. There has to be passenger flight logs and other kinds of documents and other clues from that time to help identify these Muslim safari hunters. And please, if you have any information about this heinous crime, then please let me know. I will do whatever I can to help put these monsters behind bars. Anyway, that's my time for today. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and we kindly ask you please support this endeavor by becoming a member of this show at patreon.com/CJWellerman. We can't produce, sustain and grow this show without your help, and we offer exclusive benefits to those who do. But for now, good night, good morning, wherever you are, and stay blessed.